You are watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. I'm Patrick Soko. And to just get us started, we'll go straight into our first segment, which is the morning boost. As we always talk about this morning boost every morning. It is important that we always make sure that we keep fit. It is the one that we always want to start the breakfast show on a healthier note, so that we encourage you, our dear viewers, to always understand the importance of exercising. Exercising is good for your health in that it helps us to reduce the occurrence of the accusation of non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and heart diseases. So let's keep exercising and let's not keep going fat carelessly. Let's just get to the morning boost.
Hello guys, it's Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy, here at Cho's Fitness Gym in Kablonga. So today guys, I'm going to show you a shoulder tap. So some of you may be asking, what's a shoulder tap? Okay, we go. So you stand here, just the edge from the mat here, then you crawl. You crawl until your body becomes straight. Then you start tapping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, that was 1. So I would like to tell you why the shoulder taps works on. So the shoulder taps, it's actually in form of a plank. So it works on your abs as well as your shoulder and your arms. So I'm going to go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo! So the shoulder taps, like I said earlier on, its sprint target is on the abs. So some of you may call it transverse abdominals. That's a six-pack, of course. And also the obliques, which is the sides of the waist. That's where the shoulder taps works on. Let me go for the last one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed that clip. Remember, you can also watch it later after the show. Okay, you've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy. Remember, we are here at Cho's Fitness Gym. Remember, you can also get your fitness attire here. We have new stock in the view. Bye bye. Keep up watching Camnet TV, not any other channel.
have it. That was the fitness puppy with those drills. I hope you managed to learn one or two on how to do that exercise accurately. It is important that the exercises are done right and accurate, because if you do something wrong, it also causes complications. So it is important the way you lift the those stuff has to be done correctly. If you do it wrongly, it has other consequences, other health consequences. So let's make sure that we do the right thing. We can always consult and we will be bringing these people here too. In case you have some questions, you can just be sending them on our Facebook page on how to do some exercise or some exercises you would want to see on this program. Remember, the program is brought to you by Camnet TV and to you, our dear viewers, and it is also up for sponsorship, just like the other segments like the Health Corner, which we are about to zoom in just now.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. So this week we are talking about cervical cancer. And yesterday we talked about the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer, and we said that cervical cancer can present with certain symptoms such as abnormal uterine bleeding, where you bleed in between your periods. You can also have what we call postcoital bleeding, where you bleed after sexual intercourse, or you could have dyspareunia, where you have pain during sexual intercourse. You can also have a bad or an abnormal discharge from the vagina, which can be watery or reddish brownish, and sometimes it can have a bad odor. So those are some of the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. Now, how is cervical cancer diagnosed in the hospital, and how can it be treated if you are found to have cervical cancer? So cervical cancer can be diagnosed in the hospital using what we call a pap smear. So usually this is a test that can be done in females to check if there's any abnormal cells in the cervix. Now, if you have found to have abnormal cells in the cervix, then the doctors will go ahead and do what we call a biopsy to be able to check if these cells are cancerous or if they are not, and if they're cancerous, then how far or how spread are they? Have they gone to other parts of the body as well? Has the cancer spread to other parts of the body? So they would also go ahead and check other organs in the body, such as the chest, to see if there is any metastasis in the chest, if there is any likelihood that the cancer has spread to the chest or to any other parts of the body. So they would also check your liver function and your kidney function as well, just to make sure that your kidneys and your liver are functioning well. Now, if you are found to have this cancer, cervical cancer, how is it going to be treated in the hospital? So usually there are different methods of treatment, and these would depend, the treatment would depend on the type of cancer that you have and at which stage it is. So there are different stages of cervical cancer. There are some people who have cervical cancer that is early stage, and others can have it in the end stage. So depending on the stage of cervical cancer that you are at, then your treatment will be based on the stage that you are at. So what are some of the treatment options? Some of the options of treatment are chemotherapy, where you are given certain medications that will kill those cancer cells and also prevent you from the cancer from coming back again. Then there's also what we call radiotherapy, where you are exposed to certain radioactive chemicals that will treat or shrink that cancer, and also treat or kill the cancer cells as well. Then usually sometimes you would need to have an operation or a surgery where the cervix is removed, and so as they are removing the cervix, they might also remove the uterus, and that would be a different type of treatment depending on the stage that you're at as well. So these are some of the treatment options that people with cervical cancer have. So depending on whether it has spread to other parts of the body, they will decide on what treatment to give you. So Today we're talking about cervical cancer, and the diagnosis and the treatment of cervical cancer. And we say that cervical cancer can be tested in the hospital. They can do a test known as a pap smear that can show if there are any abnormal cells. And this pap smear will determine whether they do a biopsy to check if the abnormal cells are cancerous or not. And if you are found to have cancer, then they can give you certain medications such as chemotherapy or radiation therapy, or if there is need, then they would need to do an operation and remove that cancer in the cervix. So that is how cervical cancer can be treated in the hospital if you are found to have cervical cancer. And so it's important that you get yourself screened for cervical cancer if you want to be able to get the best treatment for cervical cancer. So make sure if you are 21 years and above, get yourself screened at least every 3 years to check if you have cervical cancer, to see if there is cervical cancer. If you are found to have it in the early stage, the chances of survival are greater and the chances of better treatment are even greater. So thank you for watching. I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you watch again tomorrow when we'll be talking about how you can prevent cervical cancer. And also, if you missed any other episodes, make sure that you also catch up on my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfayasiameka, where I post all these videos and you'll be able to watch whatever you have missed in the past. So make sure you watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfayasiameka. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
Well, there you have it. That was your health corner, and we were still talking about diagnosis and treatment of cervical cancer. I hope you managed to learn one or two things interestingly there. That's a good subject that we always emphasize on. It is important that you go for cervical cancer screening to ensure that it is detected at an early stage in an event you have it, so that it can be treated. This condition is manageable. It is not a fatal if detected early. So let's make sure that we go for early diagnosis to avoid any complications. And Dr. Mufaya there just giving us those details as usual. She never disappoints, and she did as wise on our Women's Day. Talking about Women's Day, quite interesting issues have also come from that, and that's our topic. It's our topic of today is post reflections on terms of after the Women's Day. So you too, our dear viewers, can be giving us your perspective, your views on this interesting subject, because we want to know how were you celebrating the Women's Day. What key were the key messages that you took? What do you think should be our focus going forward? Is it a matter of a talk show, you talk and no action? What practical interventions do we need to put in place to ensure that we actualize digital or technological innovation or innovation inclusion, especially by accommodating women and girls? What is your perspective on that? And we also saw that others were celebrating Women's Day differently by battering their wives. And we saw another woman in Kanyama also was at the verge of losing her marriage because of talkativeness, too much talking, yeah. Those are the issues that were coming from the Women's Day as of yesterday. So we are reflecting quite a number of issues, and we want your perspective as our dear viewers on these interesting aspects. We'll be zooming in some of the stories there so that you can also give us your views and perspectives. Now, before we do that, we have to understand how the kwacha is failing against other major convertibles as we look at the money market right about now. So let's see, the Greater British Pound is buying at 23 kwacha 92 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 39 ngwe. The $1 US is buying at 19 kwacha 95 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 34 ngwe. And we have that interruption. We'll be back. We apologize for that breaking transmission that was due to circumstances beyond our control. However, we continue with the breakfast show. And before that interruption, I was actually on the money market so that we can just see how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles. So one British pound is buying at 23 kwacha 92 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 39 ngwe. $1 is buying at 19 kwacha 95 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 34 ngwe, and the euro is buying at 21 kwacha 28 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 70 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 808 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 11 ngwe. So those are your money market as the finance institution that we monitor. They vary from one institution to the other, but for the one that we particularly monitor, that's how it stands. And the kwacha has been on a depreciation aside. We are seeing that it's going towards the 20 kwacha band in terms of also buying. On the selling aspect, it is already there. It's just remaining some few. If it continues to slide, then we are going into 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 against $1, but I hope it doesn't go to that far. Otherwise, that would be catastrophic for this economy that has been facing quite a number of social and economic challenges. Now, let's also try to look at some of the stories that were making the headlines. And talking about the stories that were making the headlines, this has been filmed largely about women. But before we do that, I also get a perspective from Yusuf Dodia. He's an economist who observed that the kwacha depreciation is making life expensive and pushing up the cost of doing business. So that we just get to get his analysis on how he feels why the kwacha is depreciating, and we'll be back to analyze more women issues on the other side. Keep it on Camnet.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Utilizing the kwacha, the mechanism has been an intervention by the Bank of Zambia. Sometimes they'll release foreign currency, sometimes they will mop up kwacha, sometimes they will mop up foreign currency. These are just mechanisms to keep stability of the currency. But the strength of the currency is based more on availability of foreign currency in the country and the productivity of the nation. And I believe Zambia is a very productive country. My own analysis is that we're exporting around $40 million a day of copper, which is $1.2 billion per month, which is about 14 billion per annum, as opposed to the official figures which are showing around $6–7 billion of exports. So in my opinion, we are exporting a lot more than what is officially being declared or recorded. Now, for this economy to benefit from those exports, whether it is $6 billion or $12 billion, it is important that that export earning must come into Zambian banks. You've taken copper out of the ground, you've taken it out of the country, and what do you put in place of that copper you have taken? It should be foreign currency that comes into your local bank account, because when it comes into the bank account, it means Zambians have access to that money. They are able to go to the bank and borrow that copper money and run other businesses, finance growth of their businesses and finance the growth of the economy. And that's the way we begin.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and Sharon Kadimbola. And we were just looking at a story where Yusuf Dodi, an economist, he has been there for a long time in terms of analyzing economic matters. If you are a journalist and you don't know who Mr. Dodia is, you must be in a wrong profession. You need to change. because that's
that's a serious warning, Patrick.
Yes,
that's a serious warning.
because Mr. Dodia has always been there for us. It's the source that would always give you a story pertaining to economic matters, finance matters. Yes,
how money is moving, how it's going to affect the economy, what we should do. I don't know if that advice is followed, but he's always there, just like Chibamba Kanyama was there to always give these checks and balances in the financial sector. At least he would try. Noah Onkoma of that world, these guys have always been there.
But the most consistent is Mr. Dodia.
Yusuf Dodia.
Because others would do analyze for the sake of trying to gain something.
Don't tell
but
me.
But others will just do it as routinely it should be done. You understand?
Yeah.
Others will do it as it suits them to say, under this administration, I think. Okay, I'll be on this aspect.
Yeah.
On this administration, I'll be. You get a sense, right? There's those weather economists.
Yes.
But we have.
This one is an all-weather economist.
So it doesn't matter who is there. They would still give an objective perspective.
Exactly.
On the matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now our program is mostly themed around Women's Day. It's a post-reflection of Women's Day, and we are looking at. How the celebrations were, and how did you enjoy your Women's Day?
I was working.
And after some wine,
I didn't even do that, but you keep insisting.
Yeah, because I feel it made you oversleep.
No, I didn't. Honestly, it's not one of those things that I usually do, but I do. But yesterday I didn't. So yeah, it was just work. I'm just recovering, Patrick. You know that we shouldn't be talking about that on air. But there was no way I could indulge into that in this process of recovery. However, it was beautiful. I think it was normal for me. You know, in my world, I've got people that don't even wish me Happy Women's Day. It's only, I think you were the only one yesterday. Literally, kudos to you. The rest completely forgot I'm a woman. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apart from Chimwemwe, he remembered, like, he's been remembering and Puntu for some time, and yesterday they did remember. So yeah, the little gentleman and you, I think so. Elijah couldn't remember it. B-Mark, Amos, this is how we people brush us out of your lives, eh?
Yeah. Wait, I can tell you.
No wonder your days don't see the light of day. Is it the day of light or something?
I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you.
One of our colleagues was posted on social media to say, is it Father's Day? It never even reaches anywhere. Nobody even talks about it. It's like,
Not even a single match pass.
Not even a single match pass. Yeah, I don't think it is up.
But you know why, when it comes to women, you know what we understand? So it was we men. No wonder you'd see us get actively involved and wishing you, because we men.
Please.
We men. Yeah, so
that's how you're turning the books around. But anyways, in case you are just joining us, this is the Breakfast Show, and we are focusing our energies this morning on post-Women's Day. How did you celebrate? How did you acknowledge and appreciate the women in your life? Yesterday we were asking a similar question. We asked you to call us and just wish that wonderful woman in your life has helped you become who you are. Regardless whether you are a woman or you are a man, you've had a woman by your side to just help you get through all this, regardless of whatever circumstances you've been raised in. There's been a woman out there, so it's important that you take your time out of your busy schedule and spend probably even 2-3 minutes and appreciate that woman in your life, or those women in your life, because when you're a grown-up, you probably have more women in your life. You have your mother, your sisters, your wife, to say the least, and probably even your children. You know, they may have become women. So it's important that you actually appreciate them on that particular day. We are Africans. We don't usually do these things, but we are trying to become more knowledgeable and more westernized, for lack of a better term, that we are beginning to make it seem a bit simple to even tell your daughter to say I love you, or your sister I love you. Way back it was a taboo. You know, you tell your sister I love you, like, oh, atakunda sister wake. You know, it would be like,
the whole story.
It is the language issue.
It's a language issue, you know. But you know very well that you love them, but you can't tell them. We actually thought when somebody tells you they love you, that means something else.
Yes.
You know? But now we're beginning to just get used to that, to tell our friends we love them, to tell our siblings we love them, our parents. It's becoming more normal, and we would want even the appreciation of women to become a normal thing. Let's just not wait for 8th March, and that's when you start recognizing us. You start buying us roses, start buying us chocolates, things like that.
It is every day. But you know, some of these days they help us to reflect because it's a theme of the day.
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do something different. Let me do something different for this woman who matters in my life. You know, you do those arrangements.
I'm asking. You know, you're not gonna make me forget this.
You know, yeah, Sharon, it's quite but you know the nature of my work. My intention is to get my wife to a dinner, but you always stress me with work, especially yourself. You do have no regard to say this man is a family man. All you'd want me to see me is say behind that keyboard, punching the keyboard through and through up to 1930. And you expect me to have a normal life. So I would want to do that in a space when I am in a space when I'm going to shock you because you wanted to. I'm going to. You were trying to put me on the spot. So you discover that this job we do. You come early, you leave late. So sometimes I would have to make a special day when I'm off or when I'm on leave. I'll make sure I spoil my woman. And
we hope for that.
Yeah,
we hope you don't forget that. Please mark your calendars. We don't want to be accused.
We have to.
I'm actually on record that the one who
that is on record.
That fell. So let's look at one of the stories that made headlines as of yesterday. A 27-year-old woman at Lusaka's Mutandabantu compound in Kanyama constituency is nursing first injuries after being involved in an altercation with her husband. In an interview, the victim, who opted to remain anonymous, disclosed that despite being on separation for some days from her husband, he has been causing confusion in her life. Meanwhile, her 29-year-old husband has said he was furious when he saw his wife at a named bar with his friend drinking alcohol in the early hours of Wednesday. He has, however, disclosed that he was only looking out for her safety and well-being. The Wednesday is yesterday. It was Women's Day. Some people
interesting.
In the morning.
That's the story.
Let's look at the story, though.
While others were busy celebrating their wives and appreciating their contribution toward the development of the country, it was, however, a different situation for this couple of Lusaka's Mutandabantu compound in Kanyama constituency, who regrettably turned their morning fighting each other. Trying to become after an altercation, the man who opted to remain unknown explained that the fight arose when he found his wife in a bar drinking beer with another man. Although they separated a few days ago, he is concerned over well-being and safety.
Tio kutenge bag kuona sungiza bonze bag kuona sungiza tie then tiende kwa mskandi ende stand over amantukana baba tongo iwe that's why na kale para mchamba ndipa paneja gona pana.
In her defense, the woman, who also opted to remain unknown, accused her husband of being aggressive and that he allegedly chased her from the house. Various non-government organizations have been working in collaboration with government to sensitize couples and communities in hope of making cases of gender-based violence less prevalent.
Today we have received 4 cases from morning up to this time. And some of the cases are emotional gender-based violence, where women are being mistreated, tortured emotionally. We feel that it is not progressive as a nation if this issue continues in this manner. So we need to team up as men and support our women so that our country can develop. Zambia cannot develop if us men we are not supportive.
Zambia is still on the track of fighting GBV as fresh cases continue to emerge. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News. Fed up with being disrespected by his 32-year-old wife, this 38-year-old driver was almost calling it quit their 5 years marriage. Narrating his predicament, Lawrence Mundeya said his wife Judith Sichawa, whom they share a child with, was secretly communicating with her ex-husband on several occasions. He also said his wife was talkative and astonished his image from both the neighbors and their families by alleging that she was being sexually starved.
Talenta cheo kamba mukamba nzapempa kuti mukukamba ni mfunzi ina pamenana kuti mkazi wanga ina talenta na sense ina language yako mkazi wanga talenta yepo inayo but nipempa kuti kokamba mao usazifika mumao wamene akutinangani babise mtima kamba nonga mwamene ofunira but usakambe mao akutani babise mtima jambo lina matendo.
In her defense, the woman who rushed to a community human rights-based organization in Kanyama, called the Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights, accused her husband of chasing her from their matrimonial home every time the couple engaged in a small dispute. Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights urged the couple to respect each other and put their difference aside.
Once then support mwana wamene sali pa nyumba is very costly. So chameni kambako inetakuti lelo yanganani pamitu za wana amai sambalani paka mwapana.
And Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights Operation Manager Catherine Mwansa urged couples to remain tolerant with each other.
Once there is no peace in the house, children cannot concentrate even at school, even in the community. Women, we are part of development, and we have to make sure that our surrounding or our home, there is peace.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Those two stories highlighting cases of gender-based violence on Women's Day. It's amazing that people could even just ignore everything. They can't even pretend for a day to just show love to people that they're in a relationship with, let alone a marriage. It's just, I don't know what I would even call it. I don't know, Patrick. I don't know.
Yes, that's what I was talking about, to say, you know, sometimes these things, you know, are now becoming like, sometimes a preserve of the elite or informed society, they are privy to talking about digital rights and everything. But if you look at in these high density populated areas, you come to discover that the problem is more than that, because they don't even talk about digital rights. Look at at basic level, the challenges that are emerging.
They can't even talk about it.
They don't even understand this. It even shows you to say, you know, sometimes even community activities on Women's Day, they need to, for example, to be highly popularized, so that in each community, probably people get to see a lot of activities around Women's Day.
What exactly?
But again, if you look at the March past, they are also held to just raise awareness so that people can understand and reflect. But if you see those this story that was filmed, that talkative woman at the verge of losing her marriage, you know, that woman talks a lot, and that she was being sexually stabbed and what. But you know, so
there's always a better way of resolving issues. I always want to think that way. I don't know, maybe because I really, such things just amaze me.
Yeah.
But you know what? Regardless of the whole situation, I think there's always a better way of resolving issues.
Yes, there is.
Like if you feel you're not okay, you're not compatible with your partner, I think there's always, you know, you go your separate ways peacefully. But you know, you start fighting, you start fisting, you start getting physical. Really.
Like that man was said that I found out with my friend, she was drinking alcohol in the early hours of the day. It gets to tell you that how, because for that woman to be found
at a bar in the morning also speaks to something.
Yeah, and in fact she was chased from her home, and that man says he got concerned because he needs to hand over her to her parents, because her parents certainly do not live in Kanyama. So he has to hand over her so that they do not accuse him if anything happens. Now, if you look, so this means that this woman is moving up and about to say to look for someone, whoever who's going to take care of her for that time she's not in a matrimonial house. So you get to see that it's a wide problem that emanates from even issues pertaining to lack of counseling and traditional teachings before people get married. Vamene vijamu makambache yatino babana and those things. Wow, we've been having power interruptions. It's
been a hectic morning, just like yesterday's GBV morning.
Yeah, you were explaining something pertaining to these marriages in communities. Indeed, and Patrick, how to manage these gender-based violence issues. Don't you think now it is even more difficult that we don't have the Ministry of Gender?
Like we said yesterday, it's like Concerned Citizens for Justice in Kanyama constituency, to be particular. We call it the Blue House. There are a lot of cases that they receive. You know, yesterday was a holiday, and they didn't even have the time to close the office because they kept on receiving cases. Like he mentioned, to say yesterday he received about 4, and that was before even 10 hours.
Yes.
He had received about 4 cases of GBV-related issues, people coming to try and resolve their issues there at his office, to cancel them in one way or the other so that they can maybe get back to their homes and resolve whatever issues that they had. But then, Patrick, when you look at the bigger picture here, it's like there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings, and there's information gap that was supposed to be bridged by this specific ministry in line with its cooperating partners, the NGO sector that support issues to do with women and family life. But then it's like but you know, yesterday when I saw the march past in Cabo, where there was Women's Day commemoration with the Vice President, I saw the first people or the first institution to march was the gender division. I don't know what that division is for, though. I still insist, because I don't see anything that they do apart from holding workshops with selected people and going out of the country to do whatever training that they do, that they don't come back here and share with various institutions. I don't see that. I stand to be corrected, but I think it's just it's a money spinning or money chewing institution that deserves to be dissolved altogether. If at all it's not doing anything, if at all it's not a standalone ministry, can it be dissolved?
Because it does not make sense
It
when
doesn't
it has
make
no
sense.
traction on the ground.
It doesn't make
If anything,
sense.
then it must be decentralized so that
Exactly.
it has a presence in
I
all
saw them
communities.
marching, and there were quite a number of people with a beautiful banner there. They were the first people to march. I was like, okay, what? You know, I was almost using that word. You know,
but where are they, and where are they coming from?
Yes, exactly. I was like, okay, why are you marching? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Huh? What are you doing? I don't know. Maybe we should visit them and understand more of what they do. Maybe their work has been streamlined or tilted towards certain things and what we expect as a public. But according to me, really, they just deserve to be disbanded altogether. If at all the ministry is gone, it's gone, and everything else is gone. So that we know and understand that there's nobody in the government structures that stand for this.
Exactly, because and you know the law also provides for the institution of the put in place of the gender commission, but up to date we have not seen that
it's a song that I remember Mary Mlenga, the former NGOCC board chairperson, has been singing about until she has left. Nothing. So really, some of these things that happen in terms of gender equality, the fight for this equity and what, when you think about it broadly, you begin to accept and acknowledge people's cries, those in the opposition political parties. At first you would actually say, they're just politicking. But when you look at it and look at the happenings, the sequence of events in this sector, you begin to understand this probably administration does not pay attention to this. It's like a chauvinistic administration, for lack of a better term. You know, they're so masculine. They just want, like the male, you know, the straight jacket approach of just having men in there. And when you have 2-3 women you sandwich, you know, you block people from talking, say, no, but we've got women. Like, are you serious? Look at what is happening in these communities, Patrick. You cannot have a situation where a mother and the father fighting on a day that is supposed to be for women, supposed to be appreciated. They've totally ignored that. They don't even know.
It tells you a lot about community disintegration and there's the disconnect between the government and the community itself.
All these march pasts that we always do, you know. We always have march past Kuma, you know, like yesterday in Lusaka, it was showgrounds. Okay, why should you always have showgrounds all the time? Showgrounds all the time, freedom statue all the time. Can you redo this thing? Probably go to these highly densely populated areas where there's a lot of activities that are happening, like, for example, in the same Kanyama constituency, where there's a lot of gender-based violence cases. Patrick, this is not the first time we're reporting cases. It's a hive.
We have it every week,
it's
every
a hive
day.
of GBV cases. Every time you go there, there's a story.
And for that, just because we have a brew house where they give us those updates. You can imagine other communities what happens.
So you go there and station there. The vice president goes there in Kanyama constituency. She holds something. The same way these politicians hold rallies during campaigns.
What that is against GBV
rally. Go there and do it. This gender commission of yours, let it go there in the community.
The gender division.
Whatever. Have a commission with the people. Have a conversation with the people. Hold a rally with the people. Educate people on the dangers of GBV. Educate people about the strong values of having a family life, you know. Like you mentioned yesterday, to say this presidential statements yearly of updating the nation of national values and morals will be meaningless if at all we continue moving on this trajectory, you know. There'll be no point. It will be like mere rhetoric. You go and read.
When there's a mismatch with what's on the ground.
The Constitution says once a year the president will issue a statement updating the nation on the national values and the principles and morals, whatever. Okay, like,
even when there's no morals and principles to talk about, you should go ahead and talk about.
With this digitalization of the world, of the world becoming a global village, where we are copying other people's morals, where we are doing this and wishing ourselves into whatever, I think it's important that you go back to the grassroots. It ever landed my politician to go back to the ground. I think I'd actually say the same thing to government and the institutions that are mandated to look at women, to look at children, to look at the youth. go back to the ground and see what is happening. Don't just talk from the officers. Don't do that.
We had some stories on Women's Day. Are we able to reflect on those?
Indeed, Patrick, we have some stories. Like we said, today it's about women as well. Some men in Lusaka have challenged their fellow men to show their women love and respect regardless of their women's age, of a woman's age. Okay. George Perry, a Lusaka resident, says all men exist because of women, adding that women should be viewed as equal partners in national development and not as competitors. Another Lusaka resident, Ranton Kabangile, has described women as fighters who continue to support their families despite not being employed. Let's look at the story. We will also look at the story from Chilanga, where Chilanga District Commissioner David Sheleni was concerned that despite Zambia having more women, no meaningful change has been realized in the fight against gender inequality. Speaking when he graced the International Women's Day commemoration in Chilanga District Wednesday, Mr. Sheleni noted that women continue to be underrepresented in many spheres of the economy, with the most prominent being science and technology. The district commissioner also noted that the 2023 Women's Day theme, which focuses on technology and digital transformation, speaks to the fact that significant development cannot be achieved without the full participation of women. Let's look at these stories. We are also cognizant of the fact that celebrations for International Women's Day yesterday were dotted across the country. We managed to capture a few, and Chilanga is just one of them. Let's look at this.
While the world has joined hands in commemorating the World Women's Day that falls on the 8th of March each year, some men in Lusaka could not shy away from this important occasion but showed up in numbers at the Lusaka showgrounds to offer their support to the women folk. The men went an extra mile to also imitate the same attire that their women folks were wearing in order to send a strong message on the importance of the Women's Day. Camnet television interacted with some men to find out why they had decided not to use their holiday to do their activities, but instead decided to come and offer their support to the women. George Perry, a Unified employee who is also a Lusaka-based resident, says there can be no men without a woman, hence the need to ensure that a woman is celebrated and made to feel special.
Today cannot be left for women to celebrate on their own. This is the more reason why I've even offered myself on a particular day like this one, I can prepare a meal for my woman because she has been supporting me throughout. Why not support her, particularly on this day?
We are here because of our mothers who took care of us from the time we were not born up to the time we saw the sun. They have been there for us. They have supported us through difficulties. It is very difficult to raise a child.
It's not good for a man to be alone. And even when Adam was created by God, God after some time saw it fit that he had to create a woman. So without women with us, then it becomes very difficult for us to even live. Women are always there for us. Men are not as strong as women are.
Others like Mr. Bosuman Kapanda, an employee of Siders in Lusaka, made reference to the book of the law, which stipulates that a woman complements a man and has emphasized the need for men to respect women regardless of age and size.
This view should come even biblically because we are told as women they complement us as men, and I feel as a man it is my duty to support women that they take up positions and then they celebrate themselves as being part of us as partners, as also as complementers.
Women are very energetic. Some of them they don't work, but they are able to sustain their living somehow in their endeavors. Men, particularly myself, I feel we should embrace them and encourage them to continue doing what is best.
The 2023 Women's Day is being celebrated under the theme Women Driving Digital Innovation and Technological Advancement. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Thank you.
8th March is set aside to recognize the gains made by women in various sectors of the economy, as well as champion the positive agenda on matters they feel are not helping them achieve the gender agenda. 2023 International Women's Day theme being Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality speaks to the fact that development cannot be fully achieved without the digital space and women participation on matters of national importance. Speaking on behalf of the women in Chilanga district, Stella Nkombo noted that Chilanga, being a farming community, there is need for government and its cooperating partners to ensure that they empower women with skills that will help them become viable in the sector they understand, which is farming.
To mention that most of these women you see in Chilanga are farmers. Therefore, providing women, farmers, with equal access to resource would result in fewer hungry people and providing women with income. Land rights and credit would mean fewer malnourished children.
In speaking at the same event, Chilanga lawmaker Sipo Lazo says government is alive to the sacrifices of women and recognizes them as partners in national development.
National Women's Day is the day we recognize the contributions that our hard-working women have made. The guest of honor, when God created a man, he realized that man was lonely and needed a partner. Then God made a woman out of man to be his companion. This simply means that we are partners in development. I'd like to encourage all the women to participate in various developmental programs that have been made available through CDF and other government empowerment schemes so that the lives of our families can be improved. The guest of honor, none of us would have been here if we did not have our mothers.
Meanwhile, Chilanga District Commissioner David Sheleni says digital transformation is key to achieving national development, adding that Chilanga will ensure the theme is actualized.
That here in Chilanga District, witnessing the commemoration of this very important day, bringing together women and other marginalized groups into technology, which will result in more creative solutions and will have gender potential for innovations that meet women's needs and promote gender equality. As Chilanga, we support this noble cause of uplifting women and girls to achieve gender equality through innovations and technology. The New Dawn government, under the able leadership of the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is alive to the fact that the gap needs to close in order to breach gender inequality.
Kings Park School also, they are here on our Happy Women's Day celebration here at Parkland School Ground. You are welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Grace Ministries Mission, they are also here. The church cannot be left behind in such a celebration. Thank you very much, Grace Ministries. Thank you very much. Chirongolo Women's Association, they are here, Chirongolo.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
There you have it. Quite interesting dances there, exposing Zambia's rich culture and tradition, yes, which may go into extinct if we are not careful.
Indeed.
And we just have to make sure that we continue to transfer that knowledge and into the coming generations. Let's not raise children in the over-westernize the cultures. Otherwise, they tend to be compromised. It is no wonder you have these children who think useless things are normal.
Who think choosing the agenda is normal.
Is normal. So all those things, it's because of what we expose our children to. You may think, no, English manners na wandani ufontin.
That's not us. However, we are talking about women post Women's Day.
Yeah.
And we are reflecting on how the day was. We covered a number of stories from across the country, noted those that we managed managed, but the commemoration was held countrywide, and we saw a number of live streams from different parts of the country, and we surely hope that you managed to follow those and you got the message, you understood the theme, and you will be able to replicate it in your various workplaces, in your homes, just basically in your lives, and supporting women. One of the things that came out very prominent was that there's still a huge gap, Patrick, in terms of women accessing ICT related things, and the people were calling for an advancement into this sector and ensure that women are also incorporated. You know, when you talk about ICTs, usually it's about science and technology. And when you talk about science, it's not a very friendly subject to women. Mostly as perceived, I think I should use that word, as perceived.
But we have seen an improvement.
Yes, we have seen an improvement this time around with the introduction of STEM schools. It's also aimed at bridging that gap. It's also aimed at encouraging girls to take science and mathematics related subjects, courses, and beyond that. So it's an improvement. It's not a one-day thing, because it takes people learning for a period of time for them to reach an equal footing with the male folk. But we are hopeful that we are going towards that trajectory. And Patrick, it's also not about basically in the formal sector. The women of Chilanga were also cognizant of the fact that Chilanga is predominantly a bit of a rural-ish area, where a lot of women are into agriculture, and they were also asking government and other cooperating partners to help them come up with technological advancement that will help them in their farming activities. They were also reminding government to say, we are the majority and we do these things. Help us bridge the divide that is there, the gap that is so huge, so that our women will be able to know and understand exactly what they should do, especially in the wake of climate change, Patrick. We need to know and understand the type of crops to grow depending on the climatic condition that we are yet to experience. By having being able to read the times, to know exactly what we should do. So it was an important call and timely, Patrick. They interpreted the theme very well. They understood it according to who they are meant to understand that different parts of the country, also interpreted the theme depending on who they are and how they feel they can be helped. So yeah, this day is dedicated to women, to remind government of the gains made, their achievements made, and also to champion what they feel needs to be done to ensure that their plight is heard and they are helped in advancing the agenda of gender.
Interesting. Well said there. And we're going to have Youth Day next week. We just hope that it will equally be a well-attended event. We saw that there was also quite a mix in terms of women's from political parties. We saw the PF and UPND.
But the way the UPND painted Lusaka red. It's the pictures I saw. I was like, what? That was rather too much.
Expect more during Youth Day.
Youth Day. Ish. And those were Lusaka province women. The pictures I saw, they were captioned Lusaka province women. I was like, because these people were not participating in these events some good years ago, Patrick. You know, they would actually boycott everything and anything related to national events.
So we're going to ask the PF if they are going to do the same.
But we saw Kawa well represented. I was really following that. Women from the Patriotic Front were a lot, more than enough actually. Impressive. They marched and they were peaceful. They were peaceful.
And in Kabushi,
in Kabushi, they were a bit overly excited. You know, when they see their bulldozer, he was bulldozing the whole process with the women and very excited. Their former lawmaker, they were very excited to see him there. They marched and they represented themselves. They obviously explained what the theme was to them on their banner. Yeah, so we hope to see more of that on our Youth Day as the rest of the country joins one hands to celebrate the youth in this country. Are you a youth?
Yeah, partly.
Partly. You're not even sure.
Partly, I'm a youth.
You're supposed to be confident about it. Yes,
what about you?
Yes, I am a youth. Yes.
Good.
I'm crossing over soon.
You should enjoy your day.
So I am enjoying. I still have quite a good number of years, Patrick, but not very, not so many, actually.
What activities are you going to line up for your end of youthhood?
A number. You will see. You will be part of them. You know that. You are part of my circle. So, whatever activities I have lined up, you'll be able to replicate as well, because you are soon also leaving this stage.
Yes.
So yeah, let's take a short break. When we return, we continue having a conversation on post-Women's Day commemorations. Good morning.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Yeah, there you have it. Quite interesting aspect when we're talking in the background with your post activities in terms of you going over the youthhood. It is interesting to know that next week it will be actually Youth Day, Sharon. Yeah. And as youths, we need to always reflect on what we can do for this country and not what the country can do for us. I think that is the better way to just make sure that we contribute to this country. However, there is also an aspect of the government creating a favorable environment, and during Youth Day, those will be reflections in terms of seeing us, assessing to say, have we made any progress regarding that? And we hope that we'll manage to track the progress in terms of job creation, employment opportunities, and the highly pronounced Constituency Development Fund, CDF, in terms of empowering young people across the country. So that is what we'll be focusing on, even us as we work around stories. We have to be making progress to see if we are making progress or we are stagnant in terms of achieving the youth agenda. But if you talk about the youth agenda, it is quite just like women leadership, women participation in governance. It is the same in terms of youth participation in politics and governance. It is the same. The challenges are the same. So next week we'll be looking at that on the Camnet breakfast show. Wednesday and Thursday edition, we'll look at the youth aspect in terms of us making progress, or are we stagnant in terms of really achieving?
Are we forming cooperatives?
Yeah, I know many people formed cooperatives, but are these cooperatives living up to the expectation?
No,
did we just form a cooperative to just get CDF resources?
Yeah.
Those are the questions we need to be answering as young people. So if these cooperatives are not doing enough, is the cooperative agenda is failing? What are we doing next?
What next? And we hope that once it is Youth Day, the statements we'll be receiving from the authorities will not be from cooperatives. I think that song is just...
The song was just too
boring.
And boring. Yeah, we hope that won't be the song for this year.
Boring,
yeah.
Really. For cooperatives, you know, people don't even understand why they were told to form cooperatives. I think there's just a lot that we need to do. There's just a lot that we need to do, and before we know it, we will have reached election year, and the story of cooperatives will no longer be of use to many people because they'll feel disappointed, they'll feel neglected, and they'll want another story. I'm not sure what story will be cooked up in terms of youth empowerment, but yeah, indeed, this administration is trying by coming up with all these empowerment program. It says that there is no proper information because, Patrick, we've got a number of institutions that are offering these empowerment schemes. We've got, first of all, the CDF that has been brought down to the grassroots so that people can get a bit of some resources and utilize it and become at least self-reliant. We've got CEEC, we've got the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, we've got the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Maybe people just don't know how to go about these things, and this is what we need to do, to go out there and start educating people to say, if you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. Because sometimes, especially for CEEC, Patrick, way back, it is only those that were able to access the funds that they began to explain and say, you know what, when you apply as an individual, you have less chances of being picked. But when you apply as a group, which they couldn't even say cooperative then, they would just say a group, you stand a better chance because many people will benefit from the funds, this and that. That's when people became enlightened. But the issue of cooperative has been more pronounced now, and we hope that people have understood the assignment going forward. Like next week, you have mentioned, we will focus on talking to different youths and see to it that indeed this cooperative agenda is working. If it's not working, what should be put on the table for it to work? We'll also try and mix it up with some of those in authority and talk to them really and understand what this whole thing is about. We hope that we will be able to get the answers that we need.
Interesting. So until next week when we come with the Camnet Breakfast Show, Wednesday and Thursday edition, Governance and Policy and Politics. This has been Patrick Soko and Shalon Kalimbula.
Good morning.